Okay, I have an example here of finding the standard form of a quadratic equation and the vertex form of a quadratic equation when you aren't really given much to spring off of. You're given a 0 of 0 and 8. Now, this graph will have, because it's going through 0, 0, it will have a y-intercept of 0. And this will go along with our project that we are working on. And so this has got a maximum of 32, which means we're probably going to have an a value, which means it's a number that's in the front of the x squared term. So what we'll do is we'll start with the standard form that does not have an a value. So if we remember, our zeros and our factors are opposite. So remember, they have opposite signs. So this is my 0. So I wrote it out so you would see that I'm doing x minus 0 and x minus 8. And so because these are birds that are going like this, we know that they're going to need a negative in the front. The parabola is upside down. The quadratic function is going down instead of up. So we know we need a negative. And we know that x minus 0 is x. So when I do this and I take my negative x and I distribute it, I get negative x squared plus 8x. And I had this written earlier and some of it got erased. But this is negative x squared plus 8x. Now, I'm not done because I know that I have a maximum of 32. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use complete the square that we did earlier in the year to find the rest of it. So I am just rewriting this so that I can do complete the square with it. Okay, so I've got x, I've pulled the negative sign out so I can factor it easier, because we factor x squared, factor easier that way than with a negative x squared. So we pulled the negative 1 out, and when we do that, it makes the x squared positive and the negative 8x, and the positive 8x negative. And then I've got plus 32. Then I've scooted off to the side because we're putting it in this format here where we have x and some number plus 32 squared. And remember, that's the vertex form. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. So half of 8 is 4. And remember, in the past, I told you to circle that number and remember it because it's going to end up in our factored form. And then 4 squared is 16. So I come down and I write my new trinomial that gets developed from that. So I have x squared. I'm completing this one's square. So negative x squared minus 8x plus 16. And then because I add the 16 here, I've got to subtract it over here. Now, that's going to change my vertex to being a 16. If I do negative 16 plus 32, that messes everything up. And so it makes it be a 16, and I know that I need 32. So what I'm doing is to keep the 32 over here, I have to make this equal, and I know it sounds weird, but I have to make it equal to 0 so that when I put it in standard form, I've still got x squared plus some number x plus a 0 on the end. So I've got to think, what do I need to, this is where the a comes in. What do I need to multiply this 16 by in order to make it negative 32? Well, 16 goes into 32 2 times. So I put myself a negative 2 here. And now I've got it in the perfect format for using this maximum right here and making sure that I end up with 8 and 0 as zeros. So this is the vertex form. That means that my standard form up here, which I didn't complete it in class and show you that, when I have this negative x squared plus 8x, the standard form then, I'm going to take it and multiply it by the negative 2 as well. See the plus 8x? Which means my standard form is actually this. So this is standard form, and that's vertex form. Thank you.